Ladies and gentlemen, we have been joined by human rights activist Mushaal Mullick. Now, Ms. Mushaal, thank you for taking out time for Indus News. Now, Kashmiris are infuriated at the cold-blooded murder of Bashir Ahmed in front of his 3-year-old grandson. How will this incident affect the indigenous resistance movement?
Whatever happened today, I'm completely speechless or wordless that in the so-called 21st century, we keep seeing the escalation of violence and horrific incidents happening of gruesome, gross human rights violation taking place from India. And what happened today is not just a shame for humanity and degradation of international humanitarian law, but in itself that photograph has shown to the world the reality of Kashmir, that Kashmiri, a baby, that can be symbolic of what Kashmir is, Indian occupied Jammu and Kashmir. And there are gunmen around him, they're attacking, and they don't have any voice. And the baby, the little kid, is trying to wake up his dead grandfather. So that means that the conscience of the world is dead. So in other words, how I interpret it as a painter also, that, this is like really, really symbolic, which is going to haunt the world. And this is a timeless, image of the true face of India. And this child who has become now a symbol of the human rights violation over there, sadly, he's lost his childhood. He can never overcome this trauma, no matter what the world does for him. No chocolates, no toffees, no biscuits coming from the Indian forces can compensate for what happened with him and the way he was sitting on the chest of his dead grandfather. I mean, this day is almost something which has left such a strong impact on my soul. It's so heartbreaking. And if such pictures do not move the conscience of humanity, then I think nothing else would ever do that. It's something very terrible, and the impact it's had on the locality and all over Kashmir, this is going to go on forever. And Kashmiris will now resent even more, with more anger, because we have to keep in mind that it's a very poor understanding from the Indian side, that they think that through violence, through terrorism, through various forms of brutalities, they can shun the movement. I mean, even the dead bodies, they're scared of them. What they do with them, they mutilate them, they char their bodies, they don't give the dead bodies back to their loved ones in most of the fake encounters that take place over there. And whatever happens over there, time and again, they announce encounters because they have to justify that there is terrorism according to them. So they have to keep their 8 lakh occupation force. So to justify that, it's part of their survival technique. And secondly, this is a hunting spree, a practice hunting spree. I mean, they make errors. They try different weapons, experiment them over here on human beings who happen to be Kashmiris, but they're not even close to the rights of any insect or any animal or any human being. So they have no rights at all, and no right to live, no right to die, no right to be buried, no religious freedom, no political freedom, no right to exist, to breathe the oxygen. And this is the time of COVID-19, where the whole world is in a lockdown, and they're taking extra advantage of this lockdown, and they have this iron curtain, and they're hunting Kashmiris, and they're completely without any conscience. And these fake videos that they launched, that it was the militants that attacked them, it's all crap. It's basically they want more and more body bags, and that's the countdown that they give to the center of Delhi. So they get satisfied and they get those brownie points for that.
Well, certainly it's a speechless incident. Ms. Mullick, the international community played its due part to stop the Indian government from committing grave human rights violations in occupied Kashmir.
Sorry?
Has the international community played its due part to stop the Indian government from committing grave human rights violations in occupied Kashmir? It certainly seems they've not.
It's very sad. I will not be be surprised if we get some kind of condemnation. But over the years, we've seen a lot of condemnations. We've seen very powerful reports coming from the Human Rights Council of the UN in the past 2 years, which has been a great success for our movement, that we are being recognized internationally. Apart from our resolutions, the deep slumber of UN has woken up, and because the reports that were issued by the Human Rights Council, legally they are part of an evidence. And we already have lots of evidence. We have a lot of photographs. Even of today's incident, you can see so many photographs and videos. The men in the weapon, the occupation of forces, what they did with that old man in front of his grandson. I mean, this can never happen anywhere, and facing the bullets and sitting in the middle of it, and a child that doesn't even know if his grandfather is dead or not. So in such an atmosphere, I think it is so vital that we should move 1, 2, 3, 4 steps ahead of condemnation and issuing reports. This is something which is punishable, where the Indian forces must be persecuted. So what is the pathway? What is the way forward? The way forward is, the second step was to send observers there, to send fact-finding missions to Indian-occupied Jammu and Kashmir to probe, to investigate what's happening with the victims over there, and to seek justice for them, to make sure that those that enjoy immunity be punished. But even that was not possible. And then there was an option. The third option was to have some kind of peace dialogue between India and Pakistan and bring the Kashmiris on board. But that also failed miserably in the past. So what is the next step? The fourth step, in my opinion, my conclusion is, over the past study, over the past failures of peace talks, of condemnations, is that now we should focus on international forums where India can be punished. International Court of Justice, International Criminal Court. We need the expertise of international law experts, because this is something which is a lawfare also, what has happened after Articles 370 and 35A, and we need to take it further, and we need to mobilize support. Now, even in that, Pakistan has to work extra hard. All the embassies, the high commissions that are abroad, especially in those countries like France and others, where India is doing defense trade, where it's buying weapons from, they must be told, those factories, those defense suppliers must be communicated that it's completely illegal that you keep selling weapons to such a terrorist occupation force, because it's using these weapons not for the sovereignty or the protection of their borders, but on unarmed civilians, and for the past 70 years. So we should focus on de-weaponization and create a lobby internationally. I know it's something which is not easy. It's not going to happen in a year's time. It can take decades. It can take even a long time. But our focus should be on defense sanctions, on India, and economic sanctions, because that is the only way forward. First and foremost, demilitarization means de-weaponization of that area, because it is infested with so much of weapon everywhere, so much of shooter guns and pellets and everything, and complete immunity. And they have so much of free time, the Indian forces, because they're trained just to kill unarmed people, barge into their homes. Rape is used as a weapon of war. It's a practice session, as I told you before. They're hunting, their pellets, whatever. It's a competition for them, because they're just like toys. So we need to take it one step further, because this is genocide. Genocide
Absolutely,
falls the highest
absolutely.
crime according to international law.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely. Let's hope the child, along with millions of Kashmiris, find justice and peace. Thank you very much for talking